The thread in the mist. The thread appeared overnight, and she knew immediately. She had never made it. She had woven for as long as she could remember, not because she had chosen to, but because it had always been there. The loom, the rhythm, the quiet repetition of thread crossing thread. Her home sat at the edge of the misty vale, where the air was never quite still, and the light never fully settled. Most avoided the veil. She did not out of courage, but familiarity. Each morning, she worked. Each evening, she rested. And between those hours, her life passed in patterns, predictable, steady, known, until the silver thread appeared. At first, she thought it was a trick of light, a shimmer caught between fibers. But when she reached for it, it did not vanish. It slid gently between her fingers, cool, soft, and impossibly fine. She frowned. She had not spun this, had not dyed it, had not placed it there, and yet it was already part of the weave. She tried to pull it free. It did not resist, but it did not unravel. It simply continued, as though it had always been meant to. That night, she set her tools aside earlier than usual. But sleep did not come easily. Her mind lingered on the thread, on the way it had felt, on the quiet certainty that it did not belong to her, and yet somehow it knew her hands. The next morning, there was more, not tangled, not misplaced, but waiting, resting across the loom as though inviting her to begin. She hesitated. Then, slowly, she wove. The silver thread moved differently. It did not resist tension. It did not pull against the weave. It flowed, guiding her fingers rather than following them. And as she worked, something shifted, not in the loom, but in her. The pattern forming before her was not one she had learned, not one she recognized. And yet, she did not feel lost. She felt guided. Days passed. Each day, more thread appeared. Each day, her weaving changed. The patterns grew softer, deeper, less precise, and more alive. And with each passing evening, she began to hear something. Faint at first, easy to ignore, a hum, not from the loom, not from the wind, but from somewhere just beyond her hearing. On the seventh night, she stopped working. The thread had gathered loosely at the edge of the loom, as though waiting. She reached for it, and instead of pulling it toward her, she followed it. It slipped gently from her fingers, trailing across the wooden floor, through the doorway, out into the open air, and toward the misty veil. The mist welcomed it, or perhaps it welcomed her. She stepped forward slowly, the world behind her fading into quiet. The air grew thick, not heavy, but full, as though it carried something unseen, something waiting. The thread glowed softly now, and the hum returned, clearer, closer. She moved deeper, each step careful, though she did not feel afraid, only aware. Shapes began to form in the mist, not solid, not fully seen, but present, figures, light, movement. And then the sound changed. The hum became something more, layered, voices, soft, distant, familiar in a way she could not explain. Her breath caught. Her hands lifted instinctively, and the thread responded. It shifted, wove itself between her fingers, and without thinking, she began to weave. There was no loom, no frame, no structure, only motion, only feeling. And the pattern formed in the air, light crossing light, Memory crossing memory. She saw fragments then. Not clearly, not fully, but enough. Hands weaving beside her. Voices speaking in quiet tones. Laughter carried through mist. Not strangers. Never strangers. Something within her stirred. A recognition too deep for thought. Too soft for words. She had never been creating. She was remembering. The thread dimmed slightly. The voices softened. The mist shifted. And slowly, gently, the moment began to fade. She stood still, hands empty, breath unsteady. The veil grew quiet once more, but not as it had been before. She returned home before dawn. The loom stood where she had left it, still, waiting. But something had changed, not in the room, not in the thread, in her. When she sat again, she did not hesitate. She did not question. She simply began. And this time, the weaving did not feel like work. It felt like listening. And somewhere, just beyond the edge of sound, the mist answered.